a great honor and privilege to be invited here this afternoon to join in a discussion on internal security operations in a democratic dispensation. Nigeria Police Force as a lead agency. I do not take this privilege for granted, and so let me seize the opportunity to appreciate the Inspector General of Police and his management team in their unfailing efforts to sustain the core values of the Nigerian Police Force and his constitutional responsibility of providing security and safety for all Nigerians in spite of the contemporary doubting challenges which you and I, of course, know of. Introduction. I want to cite Nelson Mandela of the blessed memory. He said, safety and security don't just happen. They are the result of collective consequences and public investment. We owe our children, the most vulnerable citizens in our society, a life free of violence and fear. This was what Nelson Mandela said. Assuredly, efficient law enforcement and the management of security challenges depend largely on the quality and the outlook of the institutions and the personnel saddled with these responsibilities. In this regard, the importance of any workshop whose primary objective is to enhance capacity building cannot in any way be overemphasized. Nigeria, like most countries in the world, in recent times has witnessed unprecedented level of insecurity, ranging from armed robbery to kidnapping, terrorism, ritual killings, herdsmen, banditry, rape, and other forms of violent crimes. Therefore, the need for a workshop for capacity building for the officers and men of the Nigerian Police Force, being the lead agency saddled with the responsibility of internal security, cannot be overemphasized in any way. Nigeria can today be described as a nation governed by democratic principles of rules of law, which regulate the actions of everyone living within the country's jurisdiction. We are therefore under a democratic dispensation with a system of government based on the acquisition of authority from the people. The institutionalization of the rule of law, the emphasis on the legitimacy of rulers, the availability of choices and cherished values, including freedoms, of course, and accountability in governance. You and I know, as police officers, that it is a natural tendency for individuals to break the laws at will. Therefore, if left to obey laws as a matter of choice, society will inevitably drift back to a state of nature where life is described by Thomas Hobbes as being brutish, being nasty, and short, a state where there is a war of all against all. I call it, those of us who read Latin, bellum omnes contra omnes. It is therefore imperative to note that the existence of laws and code of conduct alone is not a sufficient condition for the enthronement of good conduct and orderliness within society. Otherwise, we wouldn't have need for the police. This underscores the necessity for government to set up law enforcement institutions saddled with the responsibility of ensuring compliance with these laws. The dimension of internal insecurity in Nigeria. As earlier stated, Nigeria has in recent times witnessed an unprecedented level of insecurity, internal insecurity, and this has become a global phenomenon, as no country in the world today is spared of this scourge. Nigeria is currently caught in the web of crime dilemma, manifesting in the convulsive upsurge of both violent and non-violent crimes. This is according to Okechukwu in 2011. I'm citing him. The Nigerian police force, which is the principal law enforcement agent in the country, has suffered several surgical operations. I use that word in quote, resulting in the amputation of its vital organs. And yet, the Nigerian society still expects it to continue to breathe and function optimally. For example, the following agencies were hitherto integral parts of the Nigerian police force were excised from the police. Number one, the State Security Service was the original E department, the intelligence department of the force. They looked at that department. It was very, very, very helpful, very robust. They severed it off. The Federal Road Safety Corps was originally the traffic section of the police force. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission was originally the D department of the force. Saddled with the statutory responsibility of investigation of crimes, including those that were fraud related. Then the Independent Corrupt Practices Commission. This agency, which was inaugurated on 29 September 2000, following the recommendation of the then President Commander-in-Chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces, General Olusegun Obasanjo, had its original initial staff drawn. They depleted the state of the force, drawn from the Nigerian police force, as if they were trying to extinguish the Nigerian police force. Then the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, which was established by Act of 2003, and was saddled with numerous security responsibilities. This enabling act was further amended and enlarged in 2007, and was statutorily charged with responsibility. Security responsibilities that are mutatis, similar to the statutory duties of the Nigerian police force. We now have a parallel organization dealing with these same issues. Let me note here that we do not intend in this paper to criticize the motive behind the amputation of the Nigerian police force, which invariably gave birth to the multiplicity of other security agencies. Howbeit, if the ultimate objective was to effectively tackle the problem of internal security in Nigeria, then that goal cannot be said to have been realized, albeit the current security situation in Nigeria. We therefore posit, though with caution, the Nigerian police force would have been functionally better off if the resources the government has spent on the creation of these multiple law enforcement agencies had been used to strengthen, used to train, and used to equip the Nigerian police force, particularly in the face of the current paucity of funds. There's no doubt about that. The power of the Nigerian police force. This is a specialized and a well-enlightened audience. Therefore, there's the reasonable presumption that every one of us must have been taught the historical background of the Nigerian police force. It will therefore be absurd to bore you with such historical evolution process, which however briefly examine the sources of the powers of the Nigerian police force among its various departments. The Nigerian police force draws its powers from section 214 of Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended. This section provides that there shall be a police force, not two, not three, not four. There shall be, and when the word shall is used in any statute, it means it is mandatory. There shall be a police force for Nigeria, which shall be known as the Nigerian Police Force, and subject to the provisions of this section. No other, I repeat, no other police force shall be established for the Federation or any part thereof. This is the constitutional provision. It has not been amended. This is still effective. It has not been. It's not spent. It's still there. The Police Act also makes provisions for the organization, discipline, powers, and duties of the police, the special constabulary and the traffic wardens, respectively. This act provides for the duties, general duties of the police force as follows. The police shall be empowered for the prevention and detection of crime, the apprehension of offenders, the preservation of law and order, the protection of life, property, and the due enforcement of all laws and regulations with which they are directly charged. and shall perform such military duties within or outside Nigeria as may be required of them by or under the authority of these or any other act. To ensure the realization of the statutory responsibilities or the goals or the objectives of the force, which is in the main to ensure societal cohesion by protecting lives and property, the organization is structured into specialized departments as follows. We have the A department. I don't want to bore you. A department. Can you move forward yeah, that's right. We have a DIG heading there. Of course, you know the administrative duties of the A department. We have the B department. I want to run fast because we want to have enough time for questions and answers, because some of you will have so many questions for me. The one I won't be able to answer, thank God our IG is here, he will bail me out. The C department, the D department, which I mentioned earlier, the E department, training. I was in charge of that department when I was a DIG. The F department, the G department, which is, I think, is the latest of it all. These are various departments, put in place to ensure the actualization of the objective of the Nigerian Police Force to achieve societal cohesion and the protection of lives and property in Nigeria. The Nigerian Police Force was purposefully and originally structured to have the capacity and the skill to carry out its statutory duties of managing internal security challenges in Nigeria and to effectively play a prominent role as one of the components of the criminal justice system of the country. Sadly, the police can only be said to have performed abysmally in the discharge of its duties due to the dearth of working tools and systemic failures of other components of the criminal justice system. It takes two to tango. So when the judiciary is failing, the correctional center is failing, of course, it will affect the effectiveness of the Nigerian Police Force. I want to look at the causes of internal insecurity in Nigeria. Criminologists and security experts have classified causes of internal insecurity as either remote or proximate and intermediate causal factors. Some of these factors are as follows. Let me just name them. I'm going to run very fast because time is of the essence. Number one, the breakdown of institutional infrastructures. The state of insecurity today can be linked to government failure. And I want to say that. It's linked to government failure. And I owe nobody an apology. A situation where the country earns a great deal of revenue through oil sales, but fails to use these earnings to meet the needs of its people and develop infrastructures as well as the economy. The lack of necessities by the people in Nigeria has created a pool of frustrated people who are ignited easily to become violent at the least provocation. When these situations are precipitated, crime rate is bound to rise and the security of life and property cannot be effectively guaranteed by anybody. Even if you bring the police from US or from UK, they cannot do better than us. Number two, pervasive inequalities and unfairness. Greater awareness of disparities in life is a major root cause of internal insecurity in Nigeria. Large number of Nigerians, popularly known as Nigerian population, is frustrated and have lost hope, especially the youth. This was what led to the emergence of various restive groups such as the Avengers, the Delta Revolutionary Group, and a host of others. Poverty, closely related to the above factors, is poverty and economic deprivation. Poverty is a dominant criminogenic factor as it drives citizens to take crime for survival. Number four, family conditions. People who are neglected by their families and do not get the love and attention that they desire also get into criminal activities. Some youths feel they need to cater for their poor families, and this can also force them into a life of crime and criminality. 5, peer pressure. Some youth take to crime because they see their mates going into it and they want to be accepted by their groups. Crimes like courtism are often traced to peer pressure. Youths who lack the strong will to resist what they see from their peers often try their hand in crime so as to measure up. The correctional centers are not indeed correctional. I'm talking about the prison now, for example. They are congested, and the inmate whose trial could not be expeditiously conducted due to congestion of cases in court learn more sophisticated ways of committing crimes even while in such correctional centers. What an irony. The structures are weak and ill-equipped, and this enables the inmates to easily escape from such centers and recycled back into society, thus compounding the problems of the Nigerian police force. For example, I want to give this example. A recidivist who was out of prison went back into armed robbery, having learned more sophisticated modus operandi. This recidivist eventually caused the death of the counsel who defended him in court. So many years ago, a man was arrested for armed robbery, and because the prison was they were not bringing him to court, they had no vehicle. After several years, he was discharged and was asked to go. The lawyer who canvassed very brilliantly, a colleague of mine, who canvassed for his release in a compelling manner. That day, he was set free. The armed robber came and hugged him and kissed him, and they celebrated in the courtroom. When he went back, because the prison was not a correctional center, it was a center where he now learned more sophisticated means of troubling the police force. He went back to armed robbery, got a new gang, and went to the road. This same lawyer was coming from court. He had his law books at the back of his car, his wig and gown. As he was coming, he ran into the robbers, broad daylight. They were robbing. Among whom was this recidivist. So his colleagues saw him first. Oh, lawyer, where are you coming? Come out. Then the man recognized him. He said, please don't shoot this man. You remember that time when I was arrested? This was the brilliant lawyer who caused my release. Nobody should hurt him. He was pleading with his colleagues. So his colleagues called him, say, excuse me, you know the rules of this game. Once any of us that be recognized, they were in danger. This man cannot go. If he goes, he will expose us and we are finished. Before he could say anything, one of them opened an SMG and then reloaded his chest with bullet. That was how the lawyer died. So you see the danger of having our correctional center not actually correcting the criminals who have been kept there. Then factors militating against effective police operations as internal security lead agency. I want to mention those facts. Those facts are very, very important. The Nigerian police, by law, vested with the responsibility of detecting, investigating, and solving crime so as to ensure peace and stability in the nation. With the criminal justice system, the police is referred to as the gatekeeper. This is according to Professor Alemeka in 2014. Since they set in motion a criminal case, they have the constitutional power to initiate criminal cases, investigate, summons, make arrests, detain, and set the case in motion. The police has, however, not been able to effectively carry out this duty as lead agency in internal security operations and as an important component of the criminal justice system due to the following factors. I want to highlight some of the factors that are making it a bit difficult for the police to carry out their function. Lack of adequate modern equipment. Number one, this has made the personnel of the force and the various police formations to be vulnerable and susceptible to attack by hoodlums who are often better armed. Can you imagine hoodlums just overrunning a police station and the government is watching? Most of our police are not fenced, no high walls, we don't have CCTV there, and hoodlums will just come, run down the people, set it ablaze, use dynamite, and then they will turn out and be accusing the IG, accuse everybody. What are your men doing? Meanwhile, the government is sleeping. They know that those facilities are not protected. And then they turn out to accuse the police force. Number two, poor and demotivating remunerations. The officers and men of the force are poorly and abysmally remunerated. The nature of their duties vis-a-vis the hazardous circumstances under which they operate are not commensurate with what they are paid. Thus, an average police officer can hardly feed his family nor pay his children fees with his meager salary. What they are paid after retirement, like my own, if I tell you, all of you will break down in tears. What they are paid after retirement as pension is ridiculously small, and this largely accounts for a death rate of officers immediately after retirement. Most officers die shortly after retirement because of the peanut they pay them. What they pay me as pension, I can't give it to it's not even enough to pay my security guard or even buy fuel for a month. It's unfortunate. It is, however, heartwarming that the federal government is already reviving the Pension Act 2014. It was a draconian law, a very offensive law. I don't know who conceptualized it, a wicked law, which subjected officers and men of the force to a compulsory pension scheme with a view to bringing their remuneration to be at par with those of their counterparts in other services. If you compare what I take as, as a retired DIG with what my colleague, Major General and another, well, if you look at the disparity is so much that you begin to wonder whether we are human beings or not. It is because of the respect they have for me. So when they see me, they respect me because they know, not because of what I earn after retirement. They just respect me. Oh, this man, he's one of us, he's a colleague, and they respect me. Otherwise, it's a tragedy. The kind of money they are giving. I thank God for what the IG has done and his team. I hope they will speed up the capturing of those of us who have not been captured, because those who retired recently, at least they have every cause to smile now. But we're not yet smiling. I'm happy the IG is here. Yeah, it is hoped that this exercise will be quickly conducted to put an end to the habit of premature deaths of retired officers resulting from hardship. Number C, poor and dehumanizing living conditions of officers and men. The living conditions of officers and men of the force are so dehumanizing that they impact negatively on their psyche and productivity. Officers who are living in squalor will hardly exhibit decency and decorum in the performance of their statutory duties. It will require intense training, continuous training, laborious training, and retraining before they can become a people-friendly police force. Most of these officers, if you are driving through the barrack, it's terrible. Apart from what the IG is doing recently to, at least, to refurbish this barrack, it's an eyesore. It's a terrible thing. Poor funding generally. The police is being poorly funded. Oh, I wish the government will hear this loud and clear. Security is expensive. Therefore, the government must give priority to funding the Nigerian police force adequately. The current trend is that not only is the budgetary allocation to the police extremely inadequate, but the entire sum is also never released. If they have given the police 8 billion, what they will release to the police is not more than 2 billion. Apart from the even National Assembly, I hope they are not here. They will give condition for the release. And then these are the same people who turn around to accuse police for it. It's so annoying, so infuriating. And I'm prepared to say this before the whole world. I know they cannot retire me the second time. They will pay gratuity twice. They won't do that. No, let no man be able to just remove him at will. No! That should not be. Then confusion arises from multiplicity of security agents. The creation of multiple security agents carry out similar and overlapping functions has created more confusion in the maintenance of internal security. The intended goal of enhancing the safety of lives and property of Nigerians by this approach has continued to be a mirage, and that's the truth. I stand to be corrected. Now, I want to conclude now. So, man, give me timing me. Don't be worried. Conclusion, recommendation, and then implementation strategies. Certainly, there can be no meaningful development in any society that is characterized by insecurity and disorderliness. Today, let me go further. Let me just go to recommendation because I don't have time now. I know we are very anxious to ask questions. Recommendation, let me just make a quantum jump. Recommendation 1, the Nigerian police force should invest in funds in capacity building, just as we are doing now, through qualitative training and retraining of the officers and men in the area of ideal leadership skill, acquisition, and professionalism. Implementation strategy. The Deputy Inspector General of Police, each department, to develop a comprehensive training manual. I did that when I was the DIG training for all police colleges and training institutions that will adequately address the question of leadership, development, professionalism and integrity for all cadres of officers and men in the police force. Let me run that. I don't have time now. Recommendation 2, the Nigerian police force should reduce the frequency of transfers of commissioners of police in charge of state police commands by allowing them to remain for a minimum of 4 years to enable them consolidate their crime preventive strategies and their local knowledge of the state before they are deployed to other forms. Provided, there's a proviso, provided they are doing well. If the commissioner of police is not doing well, within 3 days, if you remove him, I have no quarrel with that. Yes, nobody wants to fail. Now, implementation session, the Inspector General of Police and the Police Service Commission to ensure there must be a synergy between the IGP and the Police Service Commission. They must collaborate with the IGP to achieve the goals. Let me jump. Recommendation 3, the Nigerian Police Force should acquire modern equipment to combating crime to enable it to contain adequately crime and criminality that have now assumed very complex and transborder dimensions. Let me just move forward. Recommendation 4, the development of commissioners of, the deployment of commissioner of police to state police commands should not be based on political or other extraneous factors, but should strictly be premised on the officer's track records of integrity, effective policing, and law enforcement in previous postings. These are the team of the IG is here. I know him. He's an operational man. He knows all that. So let me not belabor the point here. Recommendation. Let me just make. I'm jumping now because there's no time. Recommendation 7: the Commissioner of Police should generate and coordinate accurate intelligence on crime situation in the country. We should emphasize intelligence-led policing strategy. There must be a clear paradigm shift from reactive policing to proactive policing. Intelligence is very, very essential. That is what is happening. That is what is being done world over. I want to round up now. Please know that this work, I prepared it, and it's not for citation. I have references there because I wouldn't want to be cited for plagiarism. That's one of the things we learned in NIBS. So I was careful to have cited. Can we just go to the references are there? And then I want to thank every one of you, particularly the IGP, for his patience. Even while others were aggressive and giving me paper to go away, the IG was very calm. He was tolerating me. Thank you for listening to this. God bless you. Thank you very much.
At this point, we will be giving room for 5 questions. So we'll be throwing the floor open if you have questions, so that the retired DIG will provide answers to your questions.
Good afternoon, Abi. Good evening, I don't know. I don't have the time here. Good afternoon. Please allow me to stand on the already established protocol. I really am excited with the lecture so far delivered by the retired, not retired, Oga. My name Mark Mamman Akiaras. I'm a Chief Superintendent of Narcotics. By extension, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency here in Lagos. We've been talking right from the beginning of this program, not the lecture. We've been discussing state policing. I just want to know, this thing baffles me, because why is it that we are finding it very difficult as a nation to establish state policing? And we keep saying or complaining that there is no employment. There is not actually employment around, and we have series of schools, university, people graduating every day. Some are still there. And I believe that having this thing established, the state policing of a thing, definitely the issue of unemployment will have been solved. Yes, a lot of people will say, if we allow them to come up, our leaders, especially the politicians, will hijack them and use them to hunt their opponents or whatever. We need to do something. we need to employ people. But the police are overstretched. If we look at what happened during the NSAS of a thing, we will understand that the security agency, not only the police and other people, we are not many. We need more hands on board. So why is it taking us time to think about establishing something that we know that it is very, very right? Another question is this. Why sometimes this issue of insecurity keep rising up every day is basically because, to me, it's basically because the offenders are sometimes let out of the hook for whatever reason, I don't know. In your lecture, you said the correction facilities are not really correcting them, or it is overstretched. What are we doing to make sure that these things are done? Every day we give birth to children. Every day people are increasing. I remember stepping out on the street one day and I look in my front, you see young men. I look behind me, I see young men. And you discover that some of them are not employed. I will keep talking about state policing. We are not employing these people. So what are we doing about that? And then another thing that we need to encourage ourselves as partners in the fight against crime. Sorry, just few. I'm going to end it now. Sorry. That the police are trying. Almost every crime, they report it to the police. If we can do the one that is specifically assigned to us and let other people or other agencies have their own, I think we will have time to think about what will we do, or we can do our work more efficiently than for us doing almost all the job. If there is a drug case, it should be reported, arrested, and sent to the drugs department, agency. If there is a kind of assault or whatever, we send it to the police. Let us concentrate on all these things. It will help us. But when you are having everything, your hands will be full, you will definitely be confused. And then remember our numbers. Thank you very much.
My name is Ayodele Samuel. I'm from the EFCC. My question is, what are the best procedures to deal with? What are the best possible way to deal with political influence on the matter of insecurity?
Good afternoon, sirs. I thank the DIG very much, sir. But I want to submit that there are another causes of insecurity in Nigeria is this religious intolerance and religious atmosphere, whereby the society are no more preaching love within ourselves. Instead of love, we are now preaching hatred. You see that even in your society now, before you wake up, they have stigmatized everybody as enemy. When you wake up, you pray, my enemy should die, this, that. So that is one of the causes. My question now is that, sir, when you were in the force, you operated under Force Order 237, which provided every and any, that when your life is in danger, all these things. But nowadays, they brought some other principles of accountability, legality, justification, and proportionality. So, with these new principles, it seems that it is only when a policeman is killed before you can shoot or do any reprisal. Thank you very much, sir.
I am Commander Ajayi Michael Babatunde from Ogun State Traffic Compliance and Enforcement Corps. My question is just one. Now we have identified lack of trust by the society as one of the important factors militating against effective and efficient internal security operations. Now the question is this: what is the police authority doing to ensure that, one, human rights education is included in the police training modules, and two, human rights desks, are set up in all theaters of internal security operations? Thank you.
What can we do to contain this porous border? Because I've worked in a place in the north whereby you take one step, you are already in Niger. When you take another step back, you are in Nigeria. And you will see people gather in Niger in your front. You'll be seeing them with drug, and they will be using it in your presence, and there's nothing you can do. What can be done to this porous border so that people will not use it to commit crime?
Mark said, why are we finding it difficult to establish state police? And he said, number one, it will reduce unemployment. And then we need more hands. Well, I read the portion of the Constitution which says there shall be only one police force. And it is a very simplistic approach to believe that when you have multiple police formations, then that is an end in itself. No, you are wrong. Even if you allow each local government area to have its own police force, and those police forces don't have the required equipment to function, if you replicate what we have at the federal, you replicate it at the state level, you have not made any progress, for God's sake. And who told you? It's only through recruitment that you can employ unemployed graduates. The industries can grow. If the industries are growing, the companies are springing up, the economy is booming, of course there will be employment. It's not only through police employment. Can you imagine a state having its own police force, and the governor is the one paying, is the one doing everything, and an opponent is trying to contest election with him? And the governor knows that the opponent is going to campaign and want to pass one particular, he will use the policemen to go and block the route. Who are you to contest with him? Unlike in UK, a constable can look at the prime minister on his face and say, you have infracted the traffic law, I'm arresting you and I'm prosecuting you. And that constable will not be dismissed, nothing will happen to him. We need to evolve a system where the police can actually effectively carry out their functions without being molested by this political elite. If you don't do that, you are wasting your time. I'm not opposed to state police. Oh, fine, no problem. You can amend the constitution to accommodate that, no problem. But if the essence is to go and establish multiple state police, and you are replicating what we have now, where the governor will now do what is being done at the federal, abandoning the police, they will become ineffective. We are back to square one. So if you don't deal with the matter from its roots, you are wasting your time. Okay. And I say, what are we doing to make the components of criminal justice system functional? Well, that question should go to the government. The police cannot make the correctional centers to be functional. We cannot make the judiciary to be functional. If the government invests in them and train them, and the costs are congested. In fact, a time came when they said, unless you're a lawyer, you cannot prosecute the case. And I raised the alarm. I'm a lawyer. Now, and I know that about 90% of cases in the magistrate court were being prosecuted by very, very effective police sergeants and inspectors. They were not lawyers, but they were getting a conviction of accused persons very easily, and without resolving, without looking at the problems that will be generated. Oh, unless you are a lawyer, you cannot prosecute and all that. And so the magistrate court became chaotic. Today, we have so many cases in magistrate court. They are ringing a bell. Any prosecutor, and the Minister of Justice is in trouble. They don't have enough, they can't pay enough lawyers to handle those cases. So you look at people putting the cart before the horse. You will not go anywhere. You're not going anywhere. The government has to deal with those institutions to make them more functional. Now, let me go, okay? Now, so he said, why can't the police concern themselves with what is related to them? Do you know that crimes are interrelated? How can you draw a line of decision between what will make EFCC? Okay, look at even the crime. Some of the EFCC, they are fraud related. We have the anti-fraud section in the police. How are you separating them? What is the basis? These are security agencies doing this, almost doing these duties are overlapping. If I had my way, I would say collapse most of these institutions. I think they were politically motivated. Collapse them, have a functional police force, empower them, train them, and Nigeria will be better off. Some of them were out of malice. Oh, because you hate the police, let me amputate the police. Oh, you know, one day there was one inspector who insulted me, and he was trying to do this. And so when I get to power, when I get there, I will deal with the police. So when they got there, okay, let us fragment the police. I need that. And these are the same people who turn around to accuse the police. I have nothing with the EFCC or they are part of us. Some of our men are with them. But what I'm saying is that the government should be more proactive in dealing with this issue, not just creating multiple security agencies. Then, what are the best possible way of dealing with problem of course, I mentioned them there. The best possible way is to create jobs, reduce the level of poverty, reduce the level of unemployment, train the policemen, pay them well. Don't allow them to live. If there was a time came when, if you look at the back, you will see posters of obituary, policemen who were being killed by armed robbers on daily basis, all over the federation. And everybody pretends nothing's happening. Why don't you equip the police, secure the formations, make it increasingly difficult for hoodlums to attack, put CCTV there, you know, concrete wall, whether it's the police force or the police, make it difficult for hoodlums, unknown, whatever they call them, unknown banzer, gunmen, going to attack and overrun it. It's unimaginable. So the government has a lot to do to make sure the police is functional. Then, religious intolerance. I agree with you. Religious intolerance. Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you. We should tolerate each other. Nigeria is a secular state. In fact, most of my friends are Muslims. My best friend in the police force till tomorrow is a Muslim. But some of us have very useless ideas. That religion should be abandoned. That should be jettisoned, because we cannot make any progress if you allow religious intolerance to. And now we talk about First Order 237, which says that when your life is in danger, you can defend yourself. That order is still valid. To the best of my knowledge, there is no law that says you should wait until you have been gunned down by the criminal before you can cock and shoot. I have never seen a dead man cocking his rifle and shooting. I can't be aiming at your leg when you are aiming at my head. I will be a foolish man. And of course, the principle of armed combat, the first person to pull the trigger accurately is the victor. So if you are waiting for somebody to say shoot before you shoot, you are a fool. Once your life is in danger, you are at liberty. You are at liberty to use your rifle. If it's armed and it's aiming at your head, and you say, look, because of all that, let me shoot to him. You are aiming at his toe. Let me shoot his toe. And he's aiming at your head. You don't know what you're doing. You are going anywhere. You are not going anywhere. Okay, it's a lack of trust. Lack of trust, and then human rights deaths. Okay, yes, we have the human rights deaths. In fact, if you look at the manual, when I was DIG training, we packaged the training manual, in all the police colleges. They are still there, MD back and I will sign them. They are all there. So we lay emphasis on human rights and all of that. But the fact is this: some of our men are not serious. I know that members of the public are failing in their responsibilities, coming to assist the police. When I was CP Lagos, you know what I did? I asked all the area commanders and the DPO, some of them who are here, I said, go and print your name on a newspaper, on a plain sheet. Put your name there, put your rank, put your phone numbers there. Go from, as if you're an evangelist, go from house to house. I am the DPO in this area. I'm the area commander in this area. I'm the DCO in this area. Please, if there's any problem, call me. These are my numbers. And they did that. Some of them were called back. Say, come. You mean you are a Nigerian police? You say, they give them 20,000. So they were giving them money. Say, they had never seen this before. Police going from one house to the other. Saying, if you have problem, look, call me. Because I told them, if they called me first, you are in danger. And I meant it. So every DPO, they were sleeping in the office. I didn't mind that. I didn't mind that, yes. It has even affected my hearing system. When I'm sleeping, I dedicate one side to the radio. Before Rob, I would say, when you hear compo control, those of us who are, Abby, are you here? Oh, when you hear compo control, go and be snoring, you are in trouble. In the next 2 minutes, all the vehicles were assembled there from all the area command. There's only one incident, but we have more than 20 vehicles. Robbers became afraid. They exited Lagos. So the way you, tomorrow, sometimes they call me on phone, 2 a.m. Hey, we are I'm in Ejigbo. They have broken they are coming into my bedroom now. And I'm in Abuja there. I say, I'm no longer the CP Lagos State. I have called the CP, please remove my number from tell the state government to remove, because that time every Tom, Dick, and Harry had access to my number. Vulcanizers, bricklayers. So before anything happened to a police constable on the street, they had called me, and I would raise men to, we're not losing men. So we need to put our acts together. And the moment you start doing the right thing, you make progress. Then our borders, I agree with you. Our border is very, very expensive. Our borders, Nigeria has one of the largest borders in the whole world. Apart from the Atlantic and all that, the border is how many thousands of kilometers. So we need area patrol. We need CCTV. We need to equip the immigration and make that department functional.
The Inspector General of Police, IGP Usman Alkali Baba, PSC, holder of the Nigerian Police Medal and a fellow of the Defense College. My boss, DIG Marvel Akpebo, MPM, MNI, the convener of this workshop, the AIG in charge of Zone 2, AIG Johnson Kokomo, MNI, other AIGs here present, very senior officers, commissioners of police, very senior officers from both the Nigerian Police Force, the Nigerian military, and other law enforcement agencies and intelligence community here. It's difficult speaking after your boss have spoken, and for those who don't know, if you listen to Marvel Akpebo, DIG, and his style of speaking reflects his personality. He's not just a retired and consummate police officer. He was a one-time student union activist. And so you see that activism in him, even in life after retirement. A sociologist, a lawyer, and then a pastor. He's wearing multiple caps. I know him too well. I worked with him as a DPO. When he was DPO, Sabo Police Station, I was a young police inspector, just fresh from police academy. And then I worked with him again when he was area commander, Surulere, Area C. I started out as area operation officer, Ops 2, Area Charlie, and later became the area crime officer 2. I worked with him again when he became the Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of airport. I was his OC surveillance. And then when he became the Commissioner of Police in charge of Lagos, I also worked with him as his spokesperson. So it's such a big honor to stand on a platform that he's just stepping down from. And it's a pleasure. I thank the IG, I thank the convener for this privilege. Today I'll be speaking to this distinguished audience on the topic, Understanding and Managing the Social Media, a guide for law enforcement officers. Please, can you roll? My outline, I will start with giving you, this is what we'll be discussing, understanding the social media, the different social media platforms. I give you tidbits on social media usage. We'll run through the advantages and disadvantages of the social media. Then we come into the crux of the presentation, which is managing the social media itself. And then we look at the social media policy of the NPF. We look, why did the police develop a social media policy? Samples of social media policies across the globe. Samples of social media abuse by police personnel, not just police personnel. We also look at the abuses by other members of other agencies. Then we look at the overview, just more like a bird view of the social media policy of the Nigerian Police Force, consequences for breaching the SMP, and then we reach a conclusion. I'll start with this quote by Eric Coleman. Eric said, and I quote, "We do not have a choice on whether we do social media. The question is how well we do it." And this actually captures our dilemma and our situation today. Social media has come to stay. So we really do not have a question or an option as to whether we will use it or we will do it. The question is how well, how far, and how effective should we allow the social media to use us, or do we use the social media? And that takes us to the next slide, which is, what is social media to you? I would have thrown this question open, but because of the nature of the audience, I'll just go straight and answer the question. I provided 3 definitions, one for the Merriam-Webster dictionary, the other one for Wikipedia, but I would rather take the one in the next slide, which is an extract from the police social media policy. And this is how we define the social media in the police social media, in the NPF social media policy. We said the social media is an interactive form of media that allows users to interact with one another on the cyberspace and share information generally by means of the internet. It consists of websites and applications that enable users to create and share content and participate in social networking. And if you look at the background of our presentation, you will see this. This is exactly what the social media does. It allows you to interconnect and interact. And so you'll continue to see that icon until I finish my presentation. It reminds you of exactly what the social media does. It provides you a platform to connect, to share information, and to push out information. And so what you see here are the different social media platforms, and there are lots of them. And as we are sitting in this awesome, hot-headed young boys and girls are still developing new applications. You see Facebook, you see Twitter, you see TikTok, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, lots and lots of them, Snapchat, and so many others. And they all have their icons. Now, I just want to take you through a few statistics on social media. And I want you to pay attention to this because it will give you a very broad view of the depth of the penetration of the social media and the challenges we are facing. In the world today, we have 3.6 billion users of social media. That's almost close to 50% of the world population are on the social media. If you want to understand what 3.6 billion is, I will help you. Nigeria has a population of 200 million. Let's assume Nigeria is 200 million. 1 billion will give you 5 Nigeria as a nation. So 2 billion gives you another 10 Nigeria. 3 billion will give you 15. Plus the 6, which will give you 3. So you have like 18 countries the size of Nigeria currently hooked up on social media. The Facebook has the largest with 2.8 billion active users. WhatsApp has 2 billion, Instagram 1.3, and Twitter 397 million. The average user of the social media spends about 3 hours a day on the social media. And I'm talking of the average user. I'm not talking of those who are addicted or those who are suffering from social media anxiety syndrome or disorder. The average user spends 3 hours a day on social media. If you want to understand what 3 hours a day would do to you, in a month, assuming a month is 30 days, that will give you 90 hours in a month. And if you times 90 by 12, that will give you 1,080 hours per year. And if you divide that by 24 hours, that will give you 45 days in a year. So the average social media user, like people like you sitting down here, you spend 45 days of your 1 year doing social media. In the course of the presentation, I will talk to you about the dangers of getting addicted. When you exceed the 3 hours a day, you are becoming addicted. And I will tell you the dangers. Advantages of social media. So many, so I'm going to run through it. For us in the law enforcement agencies, apart from helping us to enhance our social network and helping us to disseminate information, while this workshop was being declared open, it was streamed live. So people hooked up on the Zoom, via Zoom, so real-time dissemination of information. But for us in the intelligence and law enforcement agencies, the social media is an open source intelligence. It provides you open source intelligence. And that's why as a police officer, as a soldier, as a member of the NDLE or the customs or immigration, you must be careful about what you leave, the trails you leave on the social media. The truth is, just the same way those of us in the law enforcement community go to the social media to check and dig out information about the suspects or about persons of interest to us, that's the same way criminals equally profile us on the social media. So the more digital prints you leave on the social media, the more exposed you are to all manners of risk. And then these are other advantages: education, enlightenment, entertainment, and so many others. Is used for constructive criticism, for measuring public perception, for interaction and bonding. But this is where the cocoa is. Disadvantages of social media, and this is where I want you to pay attention, because we want to help you navigate the social media carefully so that you can avoid the dangers associated with the use of the social media. Erin Boris says, don't say anything online that you wouldn't want plastered on a billboard with your face on it. Don't say anything online that you wouldn't want plastered on a billboard with your face on it. So think before you push that button. When you type a message on WhatsApp, on Facebook, anywhere, think before you push out that message. And these are the disadvantages. Misinformation, disinformation is used for spreading fake news. A lot of times people ask what is the difference between misinformation and disinformation. Misinformation and disinformation has one thing in common. Both of them are false. But the difference between misinformation and disinformation is that in misinformation, something can be false and somebody is spreading it. But the person has no intention whatsoever. Sometimes he doesn't even know it is false. But the person is busy spreading it without even knowing it's false. But it is causing some damage. But in disinformation, you are spreading a misinformation, knowingly being aware that it is false. So you have intention to cause confusion, to cause mischief. You have some malicious agenda. This video, I'm going to play a video, and I want you to listen. I don't think I'll be able to take the entire length of the video, but this video will tell you what fake news can do.
And that's potentially incredibly dangerous. On April 23rd of 2013, the Associated Press put out the following tweet on Twitter. This tweet was retweeted 4,000 times in less than 5 minutes, and it went viral thereafter. That was propagated by Syrian hackers that had infiltrated the Associated Press Twitter handle. Their purpose was to disrupt society, but they disrupted much more, because automated trading algorithms immediately seized on the sentiment on this tweet and began trading based on the potential that the President of the United States had been injured or killed in this explosion. And as they started tweeting, they immediately sent the stock market crashing, wiping out $140 billion in equity value in a single day. A recent study by Oxford University showed that in the recent Swedish elections, 1/3 of all of the information spreading on social media about the election was fake or misinformation. In addition, these types of social media misinformation campaigns can spread what has been called genocidal propaganda. For instance, against the Rohingya in Burma, triggering mob killings in India.
That's one single fake news. That one single Twitter that there was an explosion in White House and Barack Obama has been injured, caused massive damage. People lost money, businesses suffered, people ended up losing jobs. And the same thing here. We are having an election in Anambra in a few days from now. One of the things we will be watching out and working very strongly against is fake news. It wasn't this bad before the advent of the social media. And so with social media, it is very easy to put out fake news and they will cause all manners of confusion. As a matter of fact, the EndSARS protest was triggered by fake news. From nowhere, somebody just put out a message that a police team in Delta State has killed someone. Nobody was killed. And they actually said the killing was done by SARS operatives. No SARS operative was even involved in that encounter. Nobody died from it. It went viral, and one thing led to another, and another led to another. And that's why some people have said that fake news has a potential of causing probably the next world war. Other disadvantages of the social media: propensity for distraction and addiction. I just told you that the average person spends 3 hours on the social media every day, spending 45 days out of his 360-something days in a year on social media. And sometimes these persons are not making any money out of it. Meanwhile, the whole of these social media platforms are big businesses. Facebook is valued at about 1,001 billion US dollars. Mark Zuckerberg is considered the 5th or 6th richest man in the world. He is 37. And his personal wealth is well over 500 billion US dollars. So you sit down here and you are making someone smile to bank, and you are ruining your own life. Addiction is a big issue with social media. A lot of people don't even know they are beginning to suffer from addiction. If you are in this hall and you can't stay without checking WhatsApp, checking Facebook, checking Instagram, and if your network goes off for 1 minute, you are panicking. You wake up in the night to go and pee, and the first thing you do is to fiddle with your phone. You are praying, and you are fiddling with your phone. Your baby is crying, and rather than attending to your baby, you are fiddling with your phone. You are beginning to go in the line of addiction. It's time to retrace your step. I don't want to sound like a preacher. Negative peer influence. I want you to play this video for me. These are young cadets from Police Academy. This is a video they posted.
With the rise of fake news, the rise of fake video,
This is just to tell you, we are lucky they didn't go beyond this. But if you don't continuously conduct trainings and talk to younger officers working under you, they will cross this borderline. And so, everywhere, whether it's in your home or in your office, you must continuously try to draw a line for your younger ones. You might be shocked. Steve Jobs, who is actually the owner of Apple, he has few hours for his kids to be on the internet. And that's the same thing with all of them in that business, in the tech industry, in the internet, all of them in the internet entrepreneurial field. So if they understand the dangers and they are the ones smiling to bank with the whole money, then you should also understand the danger. The final thing I want you all to understand about the social media is that it is unforgiving. Once you mess up, it remains there in perpetuity. A lot of politicians today are already in a fix. Unlike what happens many years ago that they said this today, they say this tomorrow, they say this next day. Today, when they cross carpet, the journalists will just plaster on their face everything they said 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 6 months ago. The same thing will happen to any of us in this room if we mess up on the social media. Risk of identity theft, loss of privacy, intrusion, social media attack. The more you spend your time on the social media, the more digital footprints you leave there, and the more you expose yourself to hazards. Let's move on. Managing the social media. Anthony Carmona had this to say. Social media websites are no longer performing an envisaged function of creating a positive communication link among friends, family, and professionals. It has become a veritable background. It has become a veritable battleground where insults fly from the human quiver, damaging lives, destroying self-esteem, and a person's sense of self-worth. I might not agree totally with everything he has said, but the bottom line, the point we're making with this quote is to say there are so much dangers that comes, so much danger that come with the social media, and we must manage them. Suppress the mischief and advance the remedy, the services they give us, and have control over them. And so the Nigerian police leadership decided to intervene, having seen that there are so much damages this social media can do to us if we leave the space uncontrolled. And so we decided to come up with a social media policy. And so the social media policy for us is a code of conduct or principle that provides guideline for a group of persons in an organization who may want to use or post content either as part of their job or as private individuals on any of the social media platform. So social media policy simply provides a set of regulations to guide anybody within any organization that have adopted it. If the police, just the way the NPF have adopted a social media policy, Nigerian military has got its own social media policy. Anybody can develop, any group can develop their own social media policy. And so, why did the NPF come up with this social media policy? First of all, to educate and raise awareness on practices which must be avoided when using the social media. Exactly what we're doing here, or part of what we're doing here. To provide regulatory framework for personnel of the force on the use of the social media. To prevent conduct and practices that may impact negatively on the image of the police force. To institutionalize compliance with the Cybercrime Act of this country. To protect integrity and confidentiality of police operations and processes. To prevent the spread of fake news, hate speeches, deliberate misinformation and disinformation. To discourage police officers from online practices that could endanger their lives. The honest truth again is as a member of the law enforcement community, there are things you do on the social media, they can impact on your safety, they can impact on the safety of your family, they might impact on the image of your organization, and they might impact on the security of your career. And these are all the things we are trying to control. This is Coca-Cola, is a multinational. This is Intel, is a multinational. All these companies and organizations have got their own social media policy. So why shouldn't we have ours? In the next couple of slides, I'm going to run you through samples of some of the social media abuses by not just the police, but also by a couple of other agencies. I have lots of them, but I won't go through all of them. There's something the IG always says whenever we travel and he's talking to police officers. He tells them that the major challenge we have even with the social media is the fact that a lot of the negative contents are actually being created by police officers and being posted there. Here, one of my friends and my colleague made a post on Twitter where he said sex in a car, in a public place, is not a crime in Nigeria. It went viral. In fact, the Solicitor General of Lagos State had to issue a statement to say that position is incorrect. So think before you tweet, think before you post, and it caused a lot of embarrassment to the officer as well to the force. These are pictures of policemen. I see no reason why we will arrest a big suspect, as big as Evans, And we are taking pictures with him as if he's a celebrity and posting it all over the social media. That is wrong. Move on. This young woman said that while he was in Pollack, whenever he's marching, that men used to lose control looking at her back. That shouldn't come up. You can say that in your bedroom. You don't go to the social media and make such a post. Move on. This is one of our guys. Just play that video for me. Enjoy yourself. To the next. Move to the next.
The regional police commander in the country's capital, Accra, advised officials of the agency during a routine match to reduce their involvement in sexual activities ahead of the country's general election. The commander said the measure, alongside a good diet, will enable them to discharge their duties effectively before, during, and after the polls. Let's take a look.
Control yourselves. We all need energy to work during the elections. I therefore advise all of you to eat well. Reduce your sexual rounds.
The point about sexual rounds, that's how I called it. I think it's phallocentric. It's marks of phallophobia. And it's an attack on the erection industry. Because there is an industry called the erection industry. And the thing is that, the male organ has always been vilified. The Greeks and the Romans, they venerated it, they worshipped it, but what's happening? Look, there is a book, A History of the Penis. And there's another book by Thomas Hickman.
Now, I played these two videos for you to understand that this problem is pervasive. Committed what turned out to be a blunder. And it trended worldwide. In fact, some people even said they were going to carry out protests, not even in Ghana. And that's the challenge. You must understand that what you post here can impact situations in Russia. This man made this statement in Ghana. He simply said to his men, like there is an Anambra election coming up, and and the IG of Ghana is the IG of Nigeria. But he cannot be. And then they now said, be careful, reduce your sexual rounds so that you can walk well. And it became a problem. So it could happen to anyone, and the key is be careful of what you post. So we just take this very quickly, and I'll round off. A few things you need to know about our social media policy. These are just highlights. By the provisions of our social media policy, all policemen are barred from identifying themselves on their social media platforms. We are not saying you cannot operate. You can operate as many social media platforms as you want. But don't go there and outrightly be identifying yourself as a police officer. We know why we had to say that. The only set of persons that are allowed to identify themselves openly on the social media because of the work they do are the IG, the zonal AIGs, the command commissioners of police, the police spokespersons, both at the federal, at the national, zonal, and state levels. And the moment I leave this office as a police spokesperson, I will exit I will stop identifying myself as a police officer on the social media policy, on my social media handles. The reason is simple. During the NSAS, do you know they were trolling people on our social media handles? They were looking for uniformed men, not just police officers, looking for their addresses and sharing their addresses. So be on your social media and then put on your non-police pictures there. It's also good for you, so that if criminals want to do a background check, they will be confused about who you are. Don't disclose sensitive, private, and confidential information obtained in the course of your job on the social media. A suspect has just confessed something to you, and you go and tweet about it. If we arrest you, you'll be dealt with. Stop posting or sharing police wireless messages on the social media or any other classified information. Move on. Suspects' pictures, suspects' interviews, except when expressly approved by the CP or your command spokesperson, please stop sharing them. Stop commenting on controversial issues. Just be a decent law enforcement agent. Don't go to the social media and start engaging them in arguments, commenting on issues of politics, religion, race, ethnicity, tribe, and the rest of them. Move on. You can't operate a blog or a podcast without express permission from the IG. And don't use your social media platform to commit mutiny. Move on. Matters under police investigation, uploading official pictures and videos, sharing sexually explicit or pornographic materials, no, no, no. Consequences for breaching the SMP, again, Gemini Kent said this: you are responsible for everything you post, and everything you post will be a reflection of you. You are responsible for everything you post, and everything you post will be a reflection of you. Wherever you sow, you reap. If you breach the SMP, depending on the gravity, if your breach amounts to a crime under the Cybercrime Act, you might even be dismissed and prosecuted. You might face first disciplinary processes. If you're found guilty, your punishment could range from verbal warning, reprimand, reduction in rank, or outright dismissal. Move on. Conclusion. From the presentation so far, it is evident that the social media, with all its benefits and importance, must be used with all sense of caution and decorum. Officers enjoin not to see the social media policy as punitive or an attempt to abridge their fundamental rights. Rather, officers are enjoined to embrace the social media policy as a progressive innovation for advancing the positive sides of the social media while managing the mischiefs or ills associated with the social media. And on this note, I want to thank you for listening.
The question I want to ask has to do with the use of the social media and the fundamental human rights concept. There are times in the practice of enforcement when our men, particularly, the same thing applies to policemen when they are on duty. The thing we usually see these days is that people will bring out their phones and start recording what is going on. There are times we are compelled, or our men are compelled, to seize such phones because they felt that their permission was not obtained before the recording. The same thing happens in an enclosed environment, like in the office. We notice that some people will come into the environment or into the premises of government premises and start recording, only for them to post such things on the social media. So the question I want to ask is the use of social media. What is the relevance of the use of social media and fundamental human rights? At what point does somebody start infringing on the rights of others?
My name is SP Bangboshi Abiodun, OC General Investigation Zone 2. My question goes to us. What efforts are the police media handlers, both at the state and the first sector level, doing to trace some of the media houses and individuals who use their platforms to establish a program anti-security where they run down both the police actions, even legal actions. And the first PROs don't always attack them immediately by a kind of retraction. That's one. Two, the police at the first sector, we need to also establish the PRO level at the divisional level so that most of these actions of our policemen at that level can always be checked by that PRO department there. I believe that. Third one is the synergy. The synergy between the security agencies. The security agencies, I want the PRO office at the first sector to promote our synergy the more, both with the military and the police, because most of the fights in the community used to be simple things that we need to educate ourselves about. Thank you.
You want PROs at divisional levels, and then you complain about synergy. Let me start with the synergy. The convener of this program, part of the achievement, part of the objective is not just to train you, but it's also to provide a platform for you to build relationships. And the IG had to personally come down here to provide a stamp, a seal of authority to this workshop. And he's been seated here since. Unfortunately, I am standing here, and what I see is that the policemen are sitting on one side, the naval guys took a role, the army guys took a role, the guys from Ogun State, the traffic agency, took a role. The customs, the immigration are sitting on one side. The guys in red, I really don't know them, sitting on a different side. That's not the purpose. And I challenge you for the remaining part of this session that you should provoke a different sitting arrangement. When you sit close to each other and you share notes, you will even know when you will exchange phone numbers, and then you build relationship. Or what impact will it have for the Navy guys to come together, and at the end of the day, they are just deepening friendship amongst them? They left here, they did not meet any new soldier, no new person from the immigration, no new person from the police. And for those of you who are policemen, of what benefit will you have when all of you just cluster yourself together? So we've provided you one platform. Please, I challenge you to use it effectively. On the issue of the radio programs, we're doing our best, and the truth is every police officer should be an ambassador of the NPF. And every police officer should also be a PRO. The way you conduct yourself, the way you dress, the way you speak to people, the way you do your job, your courage, your charisma, your confidence, your persona, all of them come together to project the police either positively or negatively. The PRO, the office of the PRO, the IG, the AIG, they can't just do it alone. You must be part of it. And then you want PROs at area command level, divisional level. I'll take that request back to the IG, and he will take a decision on it. And then for my brother from the Lagos State Transport Management Agency, you spoke about challenges you have when people come into your office and take pictures or videos of you. That's the same challenge everybody is having, including our colleagues from the military. I've seen disturbing videos from the military. Lots of them from the theater of conflicts in the northeast and northwest, from Abuja, from everywhere. We are living in an age where advocates of human rights are constantly expanding their frontiers, and we must hold our ground. The truth is, if you travel around the world, there are a lot of airports that they will tell you these are designated non-smoking areas, designated no photography and video areas. They will put the sign of a picture. They will draw a camera and they will cross it. So if you have your offices, you have a right to regulate what happened in your office. But you must make it very explicit. Let the information be bold, so that as people are coming in, they know that you have a policy that prohibits the taking of pictures and videos. If they contravene it, please go after them. Your office, your home should be like your castle. But beyond that, in the public space, if you're on the road and people video you, try to do the right thing, because it's a public space. You can't stop it, because even we are supposed to have CCTV cameras everywhere if this country is properly governed, if things are working well. I'm not yet retired, so I could be retired. So if you're in the public space, do the right thing. If you do the right thing, you will not be scared of being videoed. And I also challenge policemen, and I challenge all of you. If they are also doing the wrong thing, please bring out your own phone and video them. But the difference between you and them is that you don't post indiscriminately. That's what we are preaching here. Take it back to your office, show it to your boss, and they will know the best way to use it to advance your interest as an officer involved in that incident and the collective image of your agency. Thank you very much.
So the concept of intelligence gathering and sharing among agencies gained acceptability both locally and globally, especially after the 9/11 terrorist attack on the World Trade Center in the United States of America. That was largely attributed to the failure of the FBI to share privileged information on the pending attack with the CIA. Because of the reported poor working synergy between the two American government agencies. This lecture will therefore expose how interagency intelligence gathering and sharing
engender superior decision making, reduce operational risk, increase the pace of cohesion of effective operations, focus on mutual understanding, prevent duplication in national security efforts, and creating the desired effects to tackle various internal security challenges confronting the country. So, first of all, I'll give you an overview of what intelligence is. Now, as earlier defined, intelligence is simply a processed piece of information. It is an instrument for early crisis resolution and for reducing uncertainty in crisis or conflict situation. It remains an analytical product that is significant to the security planning and operations. The role of intelligence can be appreciated from the nature of its requirement by the primary consumer, who is the person that acts on intelligence. In this case, the consumer, who could be the executive, the decision maker, the service commanders, or any other ranking of functionaries, would always appreciate. This is what they will appreciate as intelligence. They will appreciate accurate, timely, and actionable intelligence that is specific to the area of interest. To achieve this, at the intelligence gathering stage, security operatives are to be guided by the following principles. 1, intelligence gathering should be able to monitor the buildup of threats and tension in various sectors of our national life. The NSAS protest in 2020, for example, was preceded by gradual buildup of resentment and accumulated frustration allegedly meted out on innocent Nigerians by SARS operatives. The youths initially used the social media to express their concern and transcended to peaceful protests before it was later hijacked, leading to loss of lives and property. So it starts one step after the other. Now, intelligence gathering also, in that stage, you do 2. It should be targeted at preventing violent conflicts or effectively controlling security challenges. There should be constant exchange of information between security agencies in solving potential, emerging, and prevailing adverse security situations. Number 3, intelligence gathering should facilitate the provision of information, identification, interpretation, and policy actions from which appropriate responses might be taken. This is to say that there should be comprehensive understanding of the nature of threats, security challenges, and issues at stake to guide the acquisition of an item of intelligence to neutralize threats. We should always remember what the objective of our intelligence gathering should be.